Hello and welcome into the voiceover related portion of our videos. This is Todd's Tips. If you are new to our channel or new to these videos, this is where Dad, Todd, who's been in voiceover for 14 years, gives us something to think about voiceover related that might not be, let's say, maybe popular or what most people are talking about, or maybe it is what people are talking about, but there's more, maybe a little bit more depth to it than just the cliche buzzwords and stuff like that. I'm Hudson. I've been doing voiceover for a little less than 3 years. And these are things, a lot of these things that Dad talks about are things that he's used in his VO business and helps me out with mine. So give him your ear. He has this year eclipsed $200,000 for the 7th straight year and consecutive in just voiceover, and 8th year of 6 figures plus. So he might have something for you that you can learn. It's not bragging, but it's just to give a little bit of credibility to who's this random guy who's giving me advice.
Who's bossing me around, yeah.
So maybe just lend an ear and see what you can get from this, if anything. So
Hudson has been leading off these Todd's Tips with my numbers. And again, we don't do that to brag. It's more just to, on one hand, cause you to say, hey, oh, wow, okay, He tells us what he makes every single week. He tells us what he makes on a yearly basis. And he's made a lot of money. He's been very successful, obviously with a lot of help from a lot of different people. But, that's to help you perk up your ears and stop and take a listen. And not just quickly cast this aside or say, well, he's just another talking head. But we also put these caveats each time, every time, so that you can say to yourself, okay, so he's successful, but I'm not going to just right away just try to do everything the way Todd does it, because that's not going to work either. You got to slow down, you got to listen carefully, and then you've got to apply things. Hudson's my son. He does a lot of the same things I do. Generally speaking, he does the same things I do. But he's had to adapt and adopt things because the industry changes, and he's younger, and he has strengths that I don't have, and I have some strengths that he doesn't have. And so these caveats help us hopefully say, just listen and apply it to your situation. So today I am finally unveiling something that I've been thinking about for years, and I mean that. I've been thinking about this for years, and I've been watching lots of people, lots of coaches. I've been listening to people at conferences. I've been, studying blogs that people write. I'm talking about voiceover coaches and voiceover industry leaders. And so I've been thinking about these things for many years now. And I've come up with my building blocks of success. And so today, as part of Todd's Tips, we continue our do's and don'ts. Today, another do. I do believe in my 7 building blocks of VO success. Now, I'm in the process of writing a book about this. And so I don't know when it's going to be released because I have other things that are priorities. So I'm just slowly but surely writing this book, and maybe someday it'll come out. I'm going to continue to talk about it because it's what I do and it's what I believe. 7 building blocks of VO success. And so I'm writing a book about it. You heard it here first. That's what I'm trying to tell you, because other people will hear this, and not that I have a big audience, but they'll grab onto this and they'll be talking about it too, whether they agree or disagree. It'll come out in the wash somehow. So these are my 7, and this, by the way, this Todd's Tips might take a little bit longer. Hang on.
Strap it up,
and we'll go on. But just remember that you heard it here first. These building blocks in this order are what I focus on each day and every day, and it's what I focus on when I talk to people. I don't do any coaching, not any coaching for money. But when people ask me my opinion, this is what's in my mind. Just so you know, if you ask me my opinion, these building blocks are in my mind. This is what I think about. This is how I built my business. So here they are. First and foremost, and Demond is going to put them on the board. The first one is, and I'm going to start from top to bottom, even though we really think foundationally from bottom to top. But I think some of these will be things that you've heard a lot of coaches talk about. The first one is the craft of voiceover. That's the top one on the pyramid. In other words, the performance, the acting side of voiceover. It's right at the top. Second is audio. Of course, you have to have pristine audio. Of course, you have to have a good sound and noise floor, a low noise floor. Of course, great equipment is all a part of having great audio. That's the second building block. The third, on our way down, is marketing, in my mind. Marketing. Lots of people are hawking marketing ideas these days. That's the third in my list down. Fourth, processes. Different processes for different parts of your voiceover business. Then the next one is business itself, running and thinking and conceiving yourself as a business owner is the next one down on my building blocks list. The second to last one is mindsets. What are your mindsets, foundational mindsets that everything, is built on as a foundation? And lastly, one that we talk about here, but nobody else talks about, they assume it, and I'm not assuming it. That is the question, who am I going to listen to? Because like we've said, you choosing who you're going to listen to, who you're going to give your ear to, who you're going to give your career path, at least for a while, maybe a year to a couple of years, to say, oh, I'm going to follow this coach or mentor. Well, they take you down a certain path. And then whether it's successful or not, you're down that path and you've gone that way. And you've got to decide who you're going to listen to right from the get-go. They're also going to ask you for money. Coaches are not in this just to simply help you out. Sure, maybe they are, but they're also in this to make money. And you need to understand that. And you need to decide who you're going to send your hard-earned money, your time and energy, and your career path. So, building back up again, first thing, who am I going to listen to? The second one is mindsets. Now, these are the foundations. The third is business, especially that mindset, running your business as a business. Fourth is processes. Fifth, marketing. Sixth, audio. And lastly, the craft, the performance side of things. Now, let me give you some caveats and some key points. Jump in this whenever you want to, or wait until the end and we can chat about things. I have four main caveats. I could talk a lot about this, and I can answer your questions or talk with you about this, whether you have concerns or disagreements or whatever, because people will, trust me. So caveats and key points. First, these are, and this is key, these are foundational logic. This is a foundational logic. It's not chronological in order. That's very, very important. It's logic. It's not chronologic. Second, you must be doing and keep doing all of these at once to be building a thriving voiceover business that stands the test of time. And we can talk about that more. Three, the three bottom tiers, that is the who will I listen to, who will I listen to, mindsets, and business. Those three bottom tiers are most important. Not exclusive, but most important. But it's the top four, especially the performance and the audio, those that most coaches and conferences spend their time and attention on. Why? Well, I have my thinking about that, and I'm a little bit cynical. You might be different than I am, and that's fine. But I think it's because this is where what I'll call the merry-go-round money is. The merry-go-round money. They suck you into coaching, and you can never get off of it. Because you've got to always be working on your performance, which I'm not against. And I'm not even against coaches that work with performance. But that's where a lot of people start, and they never get off ground one. They never get off the ground because they don't have the bottom three tiers, especially. And another reason is this plays into the emotions and desires of creative people who oftentimes get into voiceover for the performance side of things. Again, I'm not anti-coaching, But I want coaches to stop focusing so much, or at least the industry to stop focusing so much on the top tier and start to focus on the bottom 2 or 3 tiers. The thing is if you don't find the right person to listen to, who encourages you to lock in on the right mindsets, and who especially can help you with the business side of voiceover, it won't matter how great your processes are. It won't matter what kind of marketing plan you have. It won't matter how great your recording space is, or what kind of gear you have, or how great of an actor you are. You will be dead in the water because you haven't listened to the right person, you don't have the right mindsets, and you're not thinking as a business person. Fourth, and Hudson mentioned this at the beginning, I'm in my 14th year. I have 8 years over 6 figures, the last 3 years over 300K. If you can find somebody that'll be honest with you and will be transparent and is successful like that, then I would listen to them. Maybe they have a different tier grouping. Maybe they have a different foundation. But all I'm saying is this is what I know has been the key to my success. These building blocks. And that's why I'm sharing them with you folks. So there you have. I do believe in my 7 building blocks of voiceover success. Any thoughts?
No, that just jives with what we've talked about in our, private morning meetings where we just sit out on the couch and have coffee and talk about things. Those are things you've instilled into me, and those are things you talked about before, that there are some coaches out there, and I'm not harping on them or anything like that, but who will talk about you got to get a whole bunch of coaching up front before you can start making money, before you can start running a successful business, and that's just not true. And that goes back to your main building block of your pyramid.
Yeah,
who I will listen to. Who am I going to listen to?
Right,
because
right,
that's your career
right,
path.
right.
And sorry, I started out, I did a little bit of, I practiced for 2 months before I got into on Fiverr and stuff like that. And I bet you there's some, if some people in the industry were to hear that, they go, what? That's what you did? That's a terrible precedent to set. But there's the earn while you learn. And I think that's the way that the industry is going. Just do. It's a free market. So,
yeah. Let me be very clear with the fact that, and I know you're not saying this, but I don't have any problem with people working on their craft. Obviously, you need to be a good voiceover talent. And that means you're going to have to work at it, whether with a coach or not, whether you're that type of a learner or not. I'm not anti-coach. I'm anti spending all that money coaching without making sure you know who to listen to on the bottom tiers, which is the mindsets. And I could go into great detail about the mindsets. And that's what you and I talk about mainly, especially in the first 3 to 5 years. That's where you need, well, it's not true. I just stopped myself because I'm having a slowdown in my business. And guess what I've got to work on? I know I've got to continue to work on my craft. I know I have to work on processes and marketing. I know I have those things. But I've got to work at this 6 inches right here between my ears. That's what I've got to work on the most. Because if I don't, I'm going to give up. I'm going to be flailing. I'm going to do all sorts of stupid stuff. And my business is going to go down if I don't first work on my mindset.
Yeah.
So again, craft all you want. Work on your, of course. Get a good business. Do what you want to do, marketing plan, all of that kind of stuff. But if you don't get your mindset right, good luck. It's not going to go well. If you don't run your voiceover
You'll run out
business
of
like
gas.
a business, you're going to run out of gas.
Yeah.
I know you are.
Yeah.
That's why I focus on those things.
Yeah, unless you're a real good actor that's getting into voiceover, you're probably, the first 2 years are probably going to be like running through quicksand.
You're gonna
They're
drive
rough.
yourself crazy.
They're rough.
It's tough.
Trust me.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, and that's why I'm saying that people just need encouragement, and they might say, well, this isn't very encouraging. But you have to have the right mindset. That's why I also say anyone can get into voiceover and be successful, but not many will. And the reason is that bottom 2, who they're listening to and the toughness of their mind.
Yeah, fair enough. Thanks for bringing the Todd's tips as always.
And we'll keep, just so you know, if you listen back to all of my do's and don'ts, you're going to find those key things in that order. In fact, just the other day, I have these little 3x5 cards you see me reading off of that I jot notes to. And I was going through those. I have like 75 or something that I've done so far, do's and don'ts. And I was categorizing them in the different building blocks. And guess where I spend the most time? Mindset.
Yeah. It's the biggest thing. It's what keeps you going. It's what keeps you doing your processes and stuff. Anyway, if you're interested in more videos like Todd's Tips, check them out in their Todd's Tips playlist on our YouTube channel. Up next, we've got our numbers segment. So check out how we did with our weeks in voiceover. Johnny will be here from VOMP. We'll get to hear how the VOMP group did. If you ever have questions, stuff like that, you can ask them in the comments below or email me at hudsonbarsness@yahoo.com. And then we can maybe do like a listener view